I'm the Book Baron. Welcome in, everybody. So today we're continuing on with wrapping up the year. In today's video, we're talking about the worst books that I have read this year. Why I'm actually kind of excited to film this video is because I don't have that many books for you this year. So my efforts to DNF more, I think have actually worked. And this is all despite the fact that I went through a massive slump. With that said, I'm not the pinnacle of taste. So if you hear me mention a book that you love, and I will say a lot of these books have phenomenal ratings on Goodreads, so I appear to be the one idiot that doesn't love them. Don't bum yourself out. Protect that inner peace. Skip over that one. We'll join up on the next book. Don't even worry about it. It's not worth bumming yourself out. Don't do that. DNF that part of the video. That was corny. I didn't like that. Oh, also, these are in no particular order. I just, once again, went through my Goodreads list, looked at the lowest rated books and went, oh yeah, that one sucked. And then threw it on there. That's the extent of organization that you're gonna experience here. Anyways, so yeah, this might end up being kind of short. I don't know. Maybe I'll end up ranting and this will end up being a much longer video than I anticipated. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the books, kind of give you a little bit of background so you have more context as to like why I don't like it, and then we'll get into why I actually don't like it. I'll also be handing out some awards because I just think that's a little bit more fun than just dogging on books. Let's give them some awards. What are they really good at? Give it a positive spin. The first book that I have, and it gets the award for It's a Great First Draft. Thirst by Carmen Rosales. So this is sort of like a dark secret society new adult type of romance. Basically, we have our heroine Gia, and she ended up transferring over from a different school into this like more prestigious college in the wake of her parents' divorce. She's like trying to get away from them a little bit and kind of get herself some distance. But the power and social dynamics at the school are a lot different. Because it's prestigious, there's a lot of people with like a lot of money. Trying to navigate that while she's kind of like the fresh meat is a little bit tricky. And it seems like it's one of those schools where like everybody kind of knows everybody, and how much money you have like plays a big role, and how much sway you have. And she kind of accidentally one night, I think she was going out to the bars or something like that, she finds herself in the orbit of a very mysterious man named Draven. I don't know why I said it like that. After initially rejecting him, he just kind of sees this as a challenge and decides to just really go after her. But somehow she kind of ends up in the middle of like multiple different guys at this school. I think there's like two, and they're kind of like vying for her attention, and that's pretty much the book. Why I didn't like this one. Like I said, great first draft. There's so much of this that I think is so close. We've got like a dark secret society, a college, a guy that's obsessed has to go after her. That's all fun. In fact, I picked this for the book club that Nikki and Cynthia and I used to do. This was like my pick for one of the months. This was so just unpolished feeling. It reminds me of older fanfic. I feel like fanfic now is completely different. It's like well written. Like these people are masters of their craft. I'm talking about the old school stuff where it's all about wish fulfillment and being able to self-insert. And so like the heroine has no personality, so you can just kind of like overlay your own, but also responds to everything in sort of a not like other girls, but also better than other girls. You know how we love to hate on other women? The result of that was just there was so much with the characters where they're supposed to have these big emotions, but they're just rooted in nothing. So they'd be like way over the top upset about something and you're like, girl, why? Or the emotions would flip within a scene like so fast. So now you hate him and you're backhanding him? What happened? You were just about ready to like drop to your knees and like slob on some things. Especially the heroine, she just came across like really flat, like no personality whatsoever. The worst part of all of this, I think that was so frustrating, is there's this like promise of this like cool secret society, and that gets introduced in like the back half of the book and is not explained like at all. Like I don't really know what the goals or motivations of the secret society are besides like, I guess a group of guys got together and were bored and had money. There was just so much with that where I was like, the potential is there and the execution is nil. There's just nothing. There's nothing. The secret society exists because the author has stated it. Next up, I have another book, and this one is what I would describe as so average it's bad, and it's All the Ugly Things by Stacy Lynn. This is like a friends to lovers, billionaire, damsel in distress kind of of a feel. So basically our heroine, and I cannot recall her name for some reason. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? Not really. The heroine was wrongly convicted. No, I always screw this up. She pleads guilty to a crime she didn't commit. That's the correct way to say that. Okay, so she gets sent to prison because, you know, she pled guilty. She ends up getting parole, but because everyone thinks that she did this terrible, awful thing, like her family doesn't have contact with her and like her friends have kind of disowned her. So she has like no support system. And I want to say she even ends up getting paroled in a different state, which I'm just realizing doesn't make any sense. When you go on parole, don't you have to stay in the state that you were convicted in? Am I crazy? And the answer is yes, I am crazy, but for entirely different reasons that have nothing to do with this. But I did look it up, and apparently you can be paroled in a different state than you were imprisoned, but you have to have valid reasons, family ties or a job or something like that. So I'm assuming the diner job is maybe the reason she got the... I'm thinking too deeply about this. It doesn't matter. She was paroled in a different state. Let's move on. Not the point. So anyways, she ends up getting this kind of crappy job at a diner through a few connections that she does have. And there she comes across this guy. It's sort of this like late night dive type place. Like it serves truckers and people go into like the strip club and stuff like that. So this guy ends up taking a lot of interest in her and is like her dad's age. She doesn't think he's like creepy, but he keeps offering her help and she's like, that doesn't smell right. When he can't convince her to take the help, he ends up then sending in his son, and his son is like, oh my God, she's so hot. I do want to help her. So the reason that I just could not handle this book, it was so stale. It just relies so much on like tropes and archetypes that there was just nothing. There was no feeling to this book. This book had no soul. It's that like billionaire, he's gonna swoop in and save her, and she doesn't want to take his help. She doesn't need his money. She can do it on her own because she's strong and different than the other girls, because the other girls would like him for his money. Most of this book, I was just screaming, girl, just take the money. And then she'll complain about how no one's there to help her, and I'm like, these guys want to help you. Why don't you let them help you? And then the twist, oh my God, drove me crazy, because we as the audience, as we're reading this book, know what the twist is. We've been told because we get the other character's perspective. It's not a reveal. We've already known. It's only a reveal to the heroine. This is something that we have seen coming, and then it was used as a cliffhanger to get you to read the second part of the duet? No! Are you kidding me? That's what really sealed this as a bad book. Not just average. Up to that point, I was like, average read, boring. That ending, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And the fact that this is somehow a duet, there's barely enough for a single book in here. What are you doing? Bottom line, it was boring, it was vanilla, and the lack of soul just, you know, ate at my soul. All right, well, if you thought that ending made me mad, this book actually gets the award for worst ending. So the best at being the worst ending. I don't know. Put a positive spin on that in your mind. Thy Kingdom Come by Monica James. This is a first in a proper series, and it's a mafia romance. It's set in Ireland, so it's like Irish mob mafia. I just realized I don't know if those are the same thing or technically different. Not the point. And it's got like a really strong revenge plot line. This one is mostly about the hero, more so than the heroine. Our hero's name is Punky, and more or less when he's really young, he is in the house and watches as his mother is very brutally unalived by, I think, other mob rivals of his father. Something like that. He ends up painting his face to mirror her injuries. He paints a skull on his face. But basically, we're with him for the majority of the book in the present timeline where he's older, he's working for his father, he ends up being on like mob errands, he's doing mob things, runs into a gal on his way home with some evidence to like prove his father that someone's like not loyal or something like that. And the heroine is like, oh no, I'm a damsel in distress. And he's like, all right, I guess I'll help you because you are hot. Ends up helping her out, then gets home to his daddy. His daddy's like, where's the evidence? He's like, oh shucks. That gal got me, and not only got me, but she got my mother's brooch. And remember, mom's dead, so like that's really upsetting because mom's not going to have another brooch to give you. And then his dad ends up beating him, and then Punky's like, nah, I'm going to go find this woman and get my stuff back. And then he's also trying to figure out like who murdered his mother because his dad never got revenge for that or really pursued that. And he's kind of like, that's suspicious. Similar to the one I just talked about. most of this felt pretty average, and it was kind of like, it was fine. Not super terrible. I didn't love the writing. A lot of it felt corny. Like the lore behind the face painting. If you want the face to be painted as a skull and that be a signature, you can just do that. You don't have to build a fake lore about how the skull mirrors his mom's injuries. The lengths to try and like make fetch happen was astounding. Stuff like that felt like corny and try hard. Even the names, honestly, the names. Punky sounds like nickname some 1950s like street urchin child would have. I don't know if that phrase even made sense. But also like the heroine's name is like baby girl or baby doll or something stupid like that. Like, why are these names so bad? It was also just really info dumpy. Like, so much of this writing was just clunky, and it did that all the way through to the end of the book. Like, there was never like an end to it where I was like, oh, thank God we got through that. That like got us some information real quick so we can just enjoy the story. No, it just kept going. I'm right here. You can just show me all of this instead of telling me it. And that wasn't just in like the plotting. At a lot of points, like information would just be repeated. So Punky would be like, I would kill for you, baby doll. And baby doll's like, oh my God, he just revealed that he would murder for me. We were right there, sweetheart. We know. You didn't need to tell me that. What are you doing? And the romance, honestly, they just don't spend any time together as part of the issue. And we get no explanation as to why they want to be together. In fact, the characters throughout the story are like, I don't know why I'm drawn to her. This is really weird. She's like absolutely not my type. Do think she's hot though. That's the extent of it. There has to be something else. There has to be some other reason that you're drawn to them, and you can't just rely on this like enigmatic, oh my God, there's something. The ending is what killed this. I end up spoiling this in my vlog, which I will link because my reactions are interesting to say the least. If you have listened to me rant about this and you're actually like, you know, I kind of actually want to read this, what I'm going to do in a second is I'm going to put my hand up when I'm talking about spoilers. When my hand goes down, then you'll know that the spoilers are done, because I hate putting text up. I don't know why. I feel like it always looks weird. So somehow this is gonna look less weird. Don't ask questions. So for my friends that are sticking around for the spoilers, there are some wild choices made at the end. And not wild in a like, oh my gosh, wow, I didn't see that coming. Well, I guess I didn't see them coming because there's no way for me to see them coming, like at all. Because it turns out that our hero and heroine were or are half siblings. Then we just like Uno reversed it and we're like, oh my God. They're not siblings. They can fuck. Oh my God, aren't you so relieved? It was nonsense. It was shock value for the sake of it. It was to get that like jaw drop moment to get people talking about it. And then they're like, whew, now that I got that out of you, whew, let's reverse that real quick instead of actually dealing with any consequences. Honestly, that just to me removes any stakes in the book, because then I'm like, how do I even know that Punky's mom is dead? How do I know that that wasn't some like vivid hallucination he had and she isn't like safely tucked away somewhere? How do I know that anything that's been said in this book so far isn't also BS? That can be reverse Uno like at any second. That one really drove me batty. Ooh, oh no, those Monicas are fucking up hard this year. Got another one by another Monica. This one is going to get the award for genuinely the worst hero that I have read all year, and maybe one of the worst heroes that I've ever read, which does feel like hyperbole considering I do read dark romance. I'll explain. You'll be on my side, I promise. It's Passion by Monica Walters. So this is part of an interconnected series. It's an arranged marriage. Basically, Giselle is our heroine. She has everything kind of figured out. She's like got a good job. She's had her kids, and she wanted kids so bad that she ended up like having an arrangement with her very best guy friend to like have kids and share custody of them basically. And she was like, you know what? This has worked out so well having more of like a business arrangement with the kids. I'm going to do the same thing for finding a husband. So she ends up going to like an agency that arranges marriages, kind of like Married at First Sight. That sounds like a reality show that I think exists. But anyways, so she's basically going to do that. This is how she ends up coming in contact with Gentry. He's also looking for his happily ever after because women only care about his looks and want his money. Poor guy. And he really wants someone that's committed to like starting a life together. And, you know, they meet and they get married. What this book really should be called is I have some drama with my baby daddy because I'm bad at communicating. Okay. So like I said, I feel like this book was entirely mismarketed because I was so excited about like an arranged marriage and like him trying to like figure things out with the kids. And all this was drama with her baby daddy because our girl Giselle just didn't communicate to him and then had to suffer the consequences. Like her kid's dad not wanting the kids to be around him because he doesn't know who the heck this guy is, and not wanting them to move in with this guy because, once again, who the heck is this guy? Now, if we put that aside, assuming it had been correctly marketed, right? My main issue is the hero. Now, this might seem ironic considering I read dark romance. Here's the thing. Dark romance, you know you are going in and you're not getting a good guy. We're not pretending like he's a walking green flag and like these things are like amazing that he's doing. But this one, this man is a walking red flag and everyone's pretending like he's a green flag. And in fact, the heroine's the problem. He is described in the book multiple times as like a chameleon. He kind of fits in every situation. And immediately I'm like, it's giving used car salesman. Sorry to the used car salesman. You should not be grouped with this man. And he proves that he is a smooth talking nasty the second they hit one bump in the road. Like I said before, the main issue here is that the heroine's baby daddy is acting up. Rightfully so, I might add. So she's not around her kids. She's having a hard time with it. They're her children. And when she has mourned the situation too long, struggled with it for too long, stopped performing her wifely duties, he starts getting pissed off. He wants her to emotionally be available at every little second for him because he wanted to marry a wife that fits in just perfectly with his life, but he in no way has to help out or contribute to it anyway. So he wants emotional support, but he just won't give it to her because it's gone on too long. Are you kidding me? He's throwing a temper tantrum because he's like, no one's paying attention to me. My wife isn't paying attention to me. Grow up. And then he's at work, which we get little clips of him like at work or scenes with him at work. And when things are going good, women will hit on him. He's like, oh my God, I'm married. Like, no, you're beautiful. But like, I could never. The second they have issues, he starts checking some ladies out. He starts thinking about taking them up on some offer. You hit one bump in the road. You are like 30 seconds into this marriage. And the wildest part is this is really framed as the hero being like a good guy that just like wanted his wife back and wanted her to fight for the marriage. No, it wasn't. It was an adult toddler throwing a temper tantrum because he wanted it to be about him and it wasn't. It made me so angry. Oh, this one's getting me heated while I'm editing, but I realized that I completely forgot something else that he did. He actively antagonized and worsened the relationship with the baby daddy. So not only was he upset about the situation, he made it worse and was still blaming the heroine. Again, this was still somehow framed as the baby daddy was at fault and this guy is the hero. Make it make sense. I wanted to save her from this guy. This guy's not a winner. He's not a green flag. He is a walking red flag. And I can't get over that the book just never addressed it. He was never wrong at any point. Fucking wild. Fucking wild. All right, last one is one that is actually kind of fun in that it is so disturbing. This gets the award for the best physically impossible sexual scene. 8 Days for Salvation by Yolanda Olson here. I also have a vlog of this. There's some pretty interesting reactions to that one. I will link it in the cards. So this is a novella, so if you just want to go along for the insanity of it, have fun, honestly. Captive, but it's like more horror, like truly horror, and it's a standalone, so it's just like a quick little read. Basically, we have this gal that ends up getting taken captive and tortured by a guy who is determined to like save her because she's kind of like had some things go on in her past that he decides that like she needs to be redeemed from. But he has like covered her eyes so she can't really see and has like added her to this collection of women that he's saving. And she, I think, ends up being like the last one left. And more or less she has like 8 days to be saved, so hence 8 days for salvation. I don't know why I keep doing this. It literally was. I'm not quoting. That was literally what it was. Before I get into my thoughts on this, I'm just gonna let you know this is all gonna be spoilers. The writing in this honestly isn't too horrible, but there's just like weird things that happen. Like the heroine claiming that the hero, this is an actual time where the making quotes make sense. The male lead, I think, is probably better in this situation. The heroine claims that the hero fucked inside her cleat. You know what I'm saying? Got in there. Just some basic anatomy for y'all in case for some reason you're not aware. That's not possible. And in fact, during the vlog, I contacted a very close family member who, bless them, asked 0 questions about why I was asking this. Oh dear, critical detail that will make the rest of this make a lot more sense. That family member is a gynecologist. Okay, I just needed to say that because otherwise this story sounds really weird, like I just reached out to a family member and asked them about female anatomy apropos of nothing. I am a bit of an odd duck, but not that weird. And more or less, they were like, that's not a thing. But your urethra is very close to that area. So that's probably what she was referring to or thinks is the inside of her clee. But that would hurt like hell. Like people complain about the pain of being catheterized, which is just sending like a narrow tube up in there. Can you imagine someone jamming his bits up in there? Oh my God, that sounds horrible. Oh my God, so much wrong with just that scene alone. Much like Butcher and Blackbird, we do have some accidental people eating, and this was gross. It was people bacon. Ugh, it's so nasty. Oh, so horrifying. I had to start listening to classical music while I was reading the book because I was like, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. This is a lot. Oh no, you guys, I just had a horrible recovered memory. It wasn't the bacon. It wasn't the people bacon that made me listen to classical music because I got so grossed out. It was when he took her eyeball out and then he decided to boink her eyeball socket, which I do have a lot of questions about the logistics of because I feel like you'd have to have like a little baby chode in order for that to work because eye sockets are not that deep. Now that I unfortunately remembered that part, I'm gonna go drink some tea and just like sit on the floor for a little bit with some happy thoughts about pancakes. Made this like truly bad because the rest of it was just kind of like laughably like bad or gross. There was like a twist ending and it just didn't really track. Like if you read the whole book back through knowing what the twist was, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't actually explain like the whole operation or like what happened with the other girls or like anything like it doesn't explain it at all. And so at that point I was kind of like, oh, this is real bad. This is real bad. I understand why this is rated pretty horribly on Goodreads. All right, I have been filming for way longer than I should have given how many books I was talking about, but you know, I can't help but rant sometimes. With all of that, if you have read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts are on them. Did you also have a bad experience, or were you one of the people on Goodreads that absolutely loved it? Because a lot of these actually have pretty decent ratings on Goodreads. Also, let me know what was the worst book you read. I would love to be warned away from that. Let me know what the book was, like what made it so bad. What was the thing that like frustrated you the most with it? I'd love to hear that from you. With all of that, thank you so much for being here, spending part of your day with me, listening to me rant about bad books. Don't forget to like this video if you did end up liking it. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Just double check that you're subscribed. I just realized the other day I was not subscribed to someone that I've been watching for over a year, which was highly embarrassing. I really hope that I see you on my next video, which is gonna be best of the year. Bye-bye!